Hello and welcome to our live news update. I am Olugbenga George. The headlines. Tinubu asks Tribunal to dismiss Peter Obi'S petition in 2023 elections. On the foreign scene, Brazil could suspend sites over school violence content. In sports news, Napoli coach says Osimhen will be fully ready for AC Milan. And in entertainment, Isaleko descendants drag census board over use of Ayo in gangs of Lagos.
This is Alive TV.
Now the news in detail. The President-elect Bola Tinubu has urged the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal to dismiss the petition of the Labour Party and its candidate Peter Obi filed to nullify his election. In the preliminary objection he filed through his team of lawyers, led by Wole Olanipekun SAN, the President-elect asked the appeal court to also probe elections results from the state the Labour Party won. In the objection he filed alongside his Vice President-elect, Senator Kashim Shettima, Tinubu maintained that Obi was bereft of the local standard to file a petition to challenge his election victory, arguing that the Labour Party candidate was not validly nominated to contest the presidential election in line with the mandatory provision of Section 72, subsection 2 and 3 of the Electoral Act 2022. According to the former Lagos State Governor, Peter Obi's name was not found on the register of members of the Labour Party, noting that he defected to the party from the People's Democratic Party less than 30 days before the primary election that produced him as a presidential candidate was conducted. Tinubu told the tribunal that he is qualified to run for president as he is a holder of a degree of Bachelor of Science in Business and Administration from the Chicago State University since 1979. He added that he has vast private and public sector work experience, including working with Mobil Oil Nigeria as an auditor and later company treasurer. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, has asked the Code of Conduct Bureau to drop the petition written against him by the Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Festus Keyamo. Alive News recalls that Keyamo had petitioned the CCB calling for a probe of the former vice president over allegations that he used a special purpose vehicle to divert funds between 1999 and 2007 as vice president. The Code of Conduct Bureau had, in response to the petition, invited the minister for an interview to back up his claims against the PDP presidential candidate. But in a letter through his lawyer, Mike Ozekome SAN, Atiku asked the Bureau to drop the case as the subject matter was already in court. According to Ozekome, it would be sub judice and contemptuous for the CCB to be investigating the case when it was already before a court. The senior lawyer asked the CCB to refrain from interfering in the subject matter of Keyamo's petition and direct him to pursue his pending litigation against Atiku to its logical conclusion. Ozekome warned that should the Bureau persist with its investigation, Atiku will activate the judicial process against the CCB. Now to the foreign scene. Brazil could fine or suspend social media companies that do not effectively regulate content related to school violence, Justice Minister Flavio Dino said on Wednesday. The new measures, set to be published through an ordinance on Wednesday, seek to curb threats of school violence in the country, which have soared after two separate attacks left 5 dead in recent weeks. If there is no compliance, the process to apply sanctions will go ahead, Dino told a press conference, adding that the new measures, which could range from fines to suspensions, are in line with national law. A 2014 Brazilian law rules that internet companies are not responsible for content that users post unless they fail to comply with a court order to remove the content. The Supreme Court is currently discussing this law's scope and validity. In March, Meta platforms Meta.o and Alphabet's Google.o appeared before Brazil's Supreme Court to defend the law while the government looks to expand regulation over social network. Dino said Brazil's Consumer Secretariat will immediately start determining each company's responsibility in proactively regulating harmful content to students. And now in sports. The manager of Napoli, Luciano Spalletti, has stressed that the club's talisman, Victor Osimhen, will be 100% available for the second leg of the UEFA Champions League quarter-finals clash with AC Milan. Coach Spalletti did not have the luxury of deploying Osimhen in the first leg of the Champions League clash with AC Milan at San Siro on Wednesday night due to a thigh injury. Just like the absence of Osimhen caused the league leaders to lose 4-0 at the hands of AC Milan in the league a week ago, his absence in Wednesday's game gave Milan 1-0 advantage going into the second leg in the Champions League. Now, Napoli, who are on the verge of winning the Serie A title for the first time in 3 decades, have a chance to overturn the first league result at the Maradona Stadium on Tuesday, April 18. All they need to do is beat Milan 2-0 to make it to their first Champions League semi-finals in their history. However, after losing to Milan twice without Osimhen, it has become obvious that the league table toppers can't do much against the Milan-based team without a 24-year-old Nigerian international. And now on the entertainment scene. The Isaleko Descendants Union have written a petition to the National Film and Video Censors Board over the use of Eyo Masquerade in Jade Oshibaru's movies Gang of Lagos. In the statement signed by chairman of the union, Yomi Tokosi, said that the false and disturbing violent images of Isaleko and the Eyo Masquerade in the movie depicted that Isaleko was operated by gangsters and murderers. According to Idu, the unique Eyo Masquerade indigenous to the Isaleko community in Lagos was illegally and scandalously depicted as being used as a camouflage, decoy, and subterfuge for murderers and gangsters operating in the Isaleko area. Contrary to the image of gun-wielding masquerade operating as a killing machine, Tokosi said Eyo is known as a masquerade for celebration in Lagos Island and not an instrument of gangs of criminals as illegally and scandalously portrayed. And that's all on News Update. Thanks for joining.